Have you ever wondered why some countries can reach the World Cup after playing just a handful of matches, while others seem to spend years fighting their way there? For the 2026 FIFA World Cup, some nations could play close to 20 qualification matches before they even see the tournament. Meanwhile, others might qualify after playing less than half that number. That sounds unfair. And honestly, at first glance, it kinda does. But there's actually a reason FIFA's qualification system works this way. By the end of this video, you'll understand why different countries take completely different roads to the exact same destination. And here's the surprising part. The hardest path isn't always where you think it is. Let's start with the basic idea. The World Cup may be one tournament, but qualification is split across 6 different continents. Europe has its own system, Africa has its own system, Asia, North America, South America, and Oceania all run their own qualification competitions too. In theory, every country is trying to achieve the same goal: finish high enough to qualify. Simple. In practice, it gets messy very quickly, because not every continent has the same number of teams, and not every continent receives the same number of World Cup spots. Here's where it gets interesting. Africa has more than 50 national teams competing for qualification. That's a huge number. Imagine organizing a football tournament for an entire continent and then telling everyone there are only a limited number of tickets available. Suddenly, every match becomes a battle. Some African nations can end up playing qualification matches across multiple stages just to keep their World Cup dream alive. And if they make it all the way through, they may have played close to 20 games. Now compare that to South America. South America only has 10 countries. That's it. Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay. You know the type. Instead of several complicated rounds, they all play each other home and away. One giant league table. Everyone faces everyone. Simple, but also brutal. Because almost every match is against a strong opponent. Then there's Europe. Europe has the largest number of World Cup spots, which makes sense because many of the world's strongest football nations are located there. European teams are divided into qualification groups. They play home and away matches. Win your group and life is good. Finish lower and suddenly you're entering playoff territory. And nobody likes playoffs. One bad night can erase years of work. Asia takes a completely different approach. Some lower-ranked teams start in early qualification rounds years before the World Cup even begins. Years. Think about that. A team can start its qualification journey so early that players, coaches, and even entire squads might change before qualification is finished. This sounds simple. It isn't. Because FIFA tries to balance fairness, geography, travel distances, team strength, and available tournament spots all at the same time. That's why some countries play more matches, not because FIFA wants to make life difficult. Well, probably not. It's because every continent has different challenges, different numbers of teams, different competitive levels, and different amounts of World Cup places available. The expansion to 48 teams for the 2026 World Cup helps a little. More teams now get a chance to qualify, more nations can dream, and more fans can believe. But qualification is still far from equal. A country in one continent can have a completely different journey from a country in another. Yet both can end up standing on the same World Cup stage, and that's what makes international football so fascinating. The World Cup isn't just a tournament, it's thousands of matches played across years, continents, and time zones before the opening whistle is ever blown. So the next time you see a nation qualify, remember this. Some teams arrived after a relatively short trip, others survived a football marathon, and they all ended up in the same place. Which raises an interesting question. Should every continent have the same qualification format? Or is the chaos part of what makes the World Cup special? If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more simple explanations of football's most confusing systems, make sure to subscribe. Because football gets a lot more complicated than most people realize. When spoken normal, how many minutes will this audio script be?